In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove this light switch and put it on this wall right here. Alright, for this job we're going to need cable hider, Raceway wiring cover. It's got a sticky back to it so you can stick it to the wall. You have to cut it to size. Yeah, I personally like to screw this onto the wall so it's firm. Then you have this switch kit, which is made for Raceway wiring. There's an example on the back how you can run it. This is so you don't have to tear a hole in the wall, run the wire through the wall. You can just put your Raceway in, put your outlet in, what you're going to see, and then hook it up. Oh, and you're going to need the 14.2 wire if you're running 15 amp, depending on how long the run is. I'm not running far, so I can use 14.2. You want to go by your electrical code. Alright, let's get started. We're going to remove the outlet, or the switch, from the box. Open it up. So we're going to take this all apart. We don't need this right now. We're going to put the base plate on first. I use the stud finder to find the stud. The stud's right here. So I put the top screw in first. Now what I'll do next is I'll get my level. And I'll level the switch box out, or the base plate. So make sure the bubble's in the center. And throw our bottom screw in to secure it. I'm going to check it again. We're good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire guard and we're going to line it up with here, right here with the wall plate, and up there we're going to notch this out. We're going to mark where this is. We're going to make sure this is level, because we want it to look straight. So once we get it all lined up, we'll make our marks. Get it right there. So we'll make our marks right there. I don't have my pencil on me. I can see the two marks right there. Two pen marks right there. We'll notch that out then. Right now we'll go up a little bit so we get it up in the ceiling. Now if you're doing this with a finished ceiling, drywall on the ceiling, well, they make angles and corner pieces and whatnot so you can run the whole Raceway all the way in. So, but I have drop ceiling. It's easy to do. So right there, I made my two notches, or my two marks for my notches. I run it up into the ceiling a little bit, and then I'll run my wire to where I got to splice in. Take you right down here, and then I'll make my mark right around here. There we go. Got our mark. So now we're gonna go cut it. You can use a hacksaw. You can use a hacksaw to cut this, but I'm gonna use a sharp razor knife. So I got a metal plate under there so I don't cut through and score this top right here. So we'll just slice right through that. Make our mark. Just cut the plastic. Cut it with the top on, so it's nice and even. And then you take the top off. It clicks back on. All right. Now I'm gonna get my snips, and I'm gonna snip right here on my marks. Excuse my arm. Trim that as close to the wall as possible. So bend this up. Yeah, just for our inch really thin. Grab it. Just be careful not to cut yourself. Gotta fold it up a little bit. Just bang her in. Then we'll notch out our drop ceiling. You'll see our Raceway will fit right in there. Let's go down here. Alright, now we're on the wall plate. We'll loosen this screw up right here, the top screw. See these notches right here? We'll slide our Raceway in there and line it up. Alright, this Raceway usually has a sticky back. Some of them do. This particular one does not. So I usually use it to hold it in place. But this one doesn't have that option. So now that we have this in here, we'll put it in our notch above. What we got going on right here. Zoom in. Then we'll throw a screw to hold it in place. Don't over tighten it because you don't want to distort. You don't want to distort this because then your cap won't go on. Okay, so now we got that in. We'll get another screw for the top. Level, make sure it's level. Hold it in place. Put it in. Try to keep it in the middle so your screw head doesn't distort it. Distort the race head. So I'll put one more up the top and then we'll run our wire. Alright, now what I'll do, we'll zoom you out here, is I'll get the cover and I'll put the cover halfway on because we can slide it on then. Start at the bottom. I mean, it snaps on. I mean, you can snap it on, so I'll snap it on for you guys. Alright, now we snapped it on. We got it halfway on, halfway off. I'll show you why I do that. to get our wire. We ran the wire, depending on where you're running the wire. Make sure we have enough hanging out at the other end. We'll run it down through our Raceway. Then we'll slide this Raceway up. Like I said, I'm working tight quarters here. Slide the Raceway up. So that's what it looks like. See our wire sticking out at the top there. Come all the way down to the bottom. What I'm going to do now is prepare my wires for the switch. Alright, then we'll tighten our ground screw down, just nice and tight. Now we go to install our box. Now all electric's off. This isn't even hooked up yet. I will hook it up. I run all this first, then I hook it up with the power off, obviously. So what we're going to do right here is line the box up. We're going to have to take this notch out right here. See the notch? So they give you two different sizes. Choose this one. I just grab them with a pair of wire cutters, clamp them, and just wiggle it out. We'll see if that has enough room. Fits on. Now we'll clamp her down with the screws. What I do here for the ground is I prep my switch with a ground wire on it. Then I'll cut this one. I leave it plenty long enough so I can put a Wago on it. Now all this stuff I'll put in my description down below so you can purchase it online safely and securely. So pull this round wire out. Cut it. Try to get it as straight as possible. We'll slide that right in our Wago. The other one in our Wago. Check the Wago, make sure it's nice and tight. Then we'll get our light switch and we'll put it in our Wago. There you go. Now try to pull it out. Now you want to see your Wago. You want to see. You zoom in so you can see it. You want to make sure you see your ends down in the bottom of the Wago. All right. Give it a nice little tug. You're good. Now we're going to wire the switches in. All right. Now I want to wire up the switch. I'm going to put my curves on the wire. It's easier to get on screws. nice and snug. Don't want to strip the screw. What I do is I take the wire and I put the screw in a little bit to hold it in, and I use that plastic edge right there to bend it a little tighter so it stays on the screw. That's what I do. I don't know what other people do. So nice and snug. Now the way you might not wire it the same way I'm wiring this circuit. This is the way I'm wiring this circuit. You want to follow your codes. You want to make sure you do everything properly by code. Like I said, this is an example of how I do things. So this is how I'm wiring this circuit. So I got this all done. Push my wires in. Push that Wago out of the way. Put our screws in. I'll start your screws. Hold the switch in place. They also come in the kit. Make sure your wires are free so they don't get pinched. Fasten your outlet down. What also is supplied is your cover and the 2 screws with it. I start them with my fingers. I don't run them in with the screwdriver first. It's easier that way. I run them in with the screwdriver. Yeah, then you get your wall switch and your Raceway wiring. Now what we're going to do is we're going to notch out the drop ceiling tile for that cut that we made. Alright, for this I bring the drop ceiling over to where it's going to be. Make sure it's sitting in there. And I make my marks. These marks I make with a knife. I'll notch it out. And I'll keep trimming it until I get it to the right depth. I'm not gonna bore you with all that. There's other videos on how to cut drop ceiling, but that's what I do. I notch it out a little bit, cut it a little bit, fit it in there until it's nice and snug. Try to fill in all the gaps. That's what it looks like when it's cut. You can paint over these raceways to hide them, and any gaps up there behind here, you could use either a spackle mud, or you can use like a wood filler, smooth it out, and then paint over it, and they'll blend in. Let's splice this thing together. Alright, so now we installed a new switch over there. We're going to close this switch off, but first, before we close the switch off, we got to make sure the power's off, which we did. And then we're going to put a splice box up there where this wire is coming out. This wire is coming from the switch going to the lights. You want to check to see if there's power in this line, since this is the line we're going to be splicing to. We'll check a live wire. This one's live. You see, it gives off a sensor when it's live. no light, so put it on here. There's no power. Alright, it's a little darker in here, but there's my splice box job. I gotta straighten out my wires. I'll do that off video. My next task is to bypass this switch. So what I'm going to do here is fairly easy. Remove the light switch cover. Remove the outlet. So our ground wires are all hooked up. What we're going to do is our neutral wires, we're going to pull this, get rid of this trash. I'm just going to use a new Lego. See if we zoom in more. See this mess I'm working with. Alright, that one's in there finally. Now what we're going to do for our light switch wires, we're going to strip them. Put our Legos in. Again, I apologize for the lack of light. Put those babies in that box. Then we get our new cover and install it. Make sure you have the right screwdriver. So I hope you found this video useful. Oh yeah, check the operation, make sure everything works, and then if it doesn't work, go over what you did. Alright, so I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please hit the notification tab. Oh, don't forget to comment below. Thanks.